Hello, it's Mr. Price, and this is your video on the Unit 9 for congruence and enlargement. The first section is all about looking for congruent triangles using the rules that we looked at in class, and the second bit is an expansion on our enlargements and similar shapes by constructing these accurately. Okay, so let's have a look at the first question. Now here I have two triangles, both 6 centimeters, and both with angles of 30 and 20 on that line. This means that they are congruent using the fact that angle, side, angle triangles are congruent. So these are congruent because of the ASA rule. Okay, triangle 2. I have a triangle with angles 50, 30 and 100. And another triangle with angles 50, 30 and 100. Now because if I enlarge either of these shapes and the angles with them stay the same, I will not necessarily get congruent triangles. So these are not congruent triangles because of the angle, angle, angle rule, which are not congruent triangles. It's not a condition for congruency. Okay. Question 3. I have two sides with an angle between them, and the other two sides with an angle between them, all the same. So these are congruent because of the side, angle, side congruency rule. I have two sides between an angle on both cases. Question 4. I have a side, an angle, and a non-included side here. So the side isn't touching this angle here, and the same for this condition here. Okay. This is not a condition for congruency because this is a side-side angle. Okay. Now we didn't quite, perhaps you haven't seen this in class, but if you're not quite sure why this condition is not congruent, then you need to explore the possible ways you could draw this. There's actually two possible answers for this, and you need to construct that properly to see how that one works. Okay, and finally question 5, I've got sides 5, 4 and 3, and also 5, 4 and 3. That's done. And you just need to understand and know those rules. Okay, for section 2, we're enlarging the given shapes carefully and using constructions. Okay, using the scale factor given. Now for the first one, there is no centre of enlargement, so I'm going to start off by drawing my 12 centimeter line because I want to enlarge 4 by the scale factor 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to start off with a 12 centimeter line. Okay, and this may well go through some of the work. Hopefully you've done this on a different piece of paper. Okay, so that's 12 centimeters. I then want to enlarge both sides here by scale factor 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. And I want to do this at a right angle, so I'm just going to measure out my right angle here and put a little mark on 90 degrees. If you want to be even more exact, there's no harm in doing the perpendicular line at a point construction that you looked at a couple of lessons ago. Okay, I'm going to make sure that this is 6 centimeters, which goes through my point. See how this all lines up? Over to 0. I'll do the same on the other side, so measure a 90 degree angle. 6 centimeters. And then I join them up. Whoops. There we are. And now I've got my enlarged rectangle. Okay. For question 2, I need to enlarge this triangle by the scale factor. So first I'm going to draw my baseline, and I'm going to enlarge that by a scale factor of 2. So if I multiply 4 by 2, I'll get my baseline, which is 8 centimeters. So I'm going to draw that first, like so. Okay. I then want a 20 degree angle. Now this does not get enlarged. Remember, when you enlarge shapes, the angles do not get enlarged. They stay the same. So I measure my 20-degree angle, and I make my point, and then that wants to be 3 centimeters from that angle, but I need to multiply by the scale factor of 2, so that will be 6 centimeters through that angle. So that was 8 centimeters, that's 20 degrees, and this is 6 centimeters, and then I just connect my points together like this. And there is my finished triangle. Now, if you've done this correctly, you should measure this, and it should be 3.5 centimeters. If you've done that correctly. Okay, now finally for this final question, I'm going to enlarge this shape. It looks like a rectangle. I'm going to enlarge this rectangle by the scale factor 2 through the point given here. Apologies for this confusing part here. Hopefully you've ignored that. If you've done it through that bit, it doesn't really matter. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use the correct point here. Okay. So, I'm going to measure my distance from the point through this corner here and draw a construction line straight through. Okay. If I measure that to the point, it's 2.5. I want to enlarge that distance by 2.5 as well, so you can't see very well. So from 0 to the point is 2.5. So if I double that, my new point will be at 5 centimeters. That's this point here. Okay. So now I'm going to measure this distance here, and that's 3 centimeters. So I'm going to enlarge that by a scale factor of 2. And that's now going to be 6 centimeters. Now if I've done this correctly, these points should meet up, which they do. So I've got both of these points. I now want to enlarge this part, which is 2.5. So now from this point here, that's going to be multiplied by 2. So that's going to be 5 centimeters. And this is going to be 5 centimeters. And then connect my points together. And if I've done this right, these points should all line up. Which they appear to do. And that is my correct construction. Hopefully you found that okay, and don't forget to come and find me in class if you need any further help.